Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my lovely students? I've sent you a video about some undifference identities. These are new identities that you will add up to your list of identities. And still we have double and half angle identities in the coming lesson, I guess. For now, 5.4, I will explain from Precalculus book. If you want to refer to Algebra 2 book, it's lesson 10.3. Sum and difference identities. Sum and difference identities, we have 6 of them. You must memorize them very well, and the lesson is pretty easy. If you know the identities, it will be very easy. First of all, some identities, there are some identities for sine, cosine, and tan. Sine A plus B, for example, sine 30 plus 60, any two angles is equal to sine A cosine B. So مثلا sine 30 cosine 60 plus, remember the sine, I always remind myself, sine has the same sign. Cosine A sine B. So cosine 30 sine 60. It doesn't have to be 30 and 60, whatever the numbers. These identities help you in case you are in the desert and you have no calculator with you, because if you have a calculator with you and you're using it, there's no point of these identities aslan. So anyways, cosine A plus B, cosine cosine, sine sine, and the opposite sign in the middle. Tan A plus B is tan A. Okay, remember always in the numerator of the tan it's the same sign, in the denominator it's the opposite sign. So if this is plus, this is plus. It's tan A plus tan B, 1 minus the opposite sign. Here it's a multiplication, tan A times tan B. If we go to the difference identities, the same idea. The sign is the same rule, but the same sign. If this is minus, this is minus. Cosine is the same rule, cosine, cosine, sine, sine. And the opposite sign. Tan is the same rule, but here it's minus, so the numerator is minus and the denominator is plus. So again, if you know the identities, it will be very easy for you. You can open your book and keep them opened. You can pause my video at any time and think. So for now, I will start solving directly from the Precalculus book. If you want extra resources, you can solve from your Algebra 2. It was almost the same anyways. So cosine, for example, the question says find the exact value of each trigonometric expression. And here you are with no calculator. You can check actually using your calculator, but not solve using your calculator. Your calculator has to be in degrees in this question, so you can find cosine 75. Okay, on my unit circle, if you still remember what was a unit circle, I've never had 75 on it, right? The numbers were 30, 45, 60, 90, and so on. I never had 75 in the first quadrant, and I don't have a calculator. So these identities, their job is to help you find such things, 75, 15, some values that are not on the unit circle. So how do I think of 75? I should think of two numbers that are on the unit circle. Okay, if I add them I get 75, or if I subtract them I get 75. It's all in your hand. I think it's very easy over here to think of 45 and 30 because their sum is 75. So if I change the question to cosine 45 plus 30, is there any problem? There's no problem. And I can deal with 45 and 30 without a calculator, right? So this identity says that for cosine, I'm gonna go cosine, cosine, sine, sine. Okay, so what will I do? I will once say cosine sorry, it's the opposite sign, right? Opposite sign. So if this is plus, I'm gonna use minus, right? So I'm gonna go for cosine 45, cosine 30. Okay, this is AB, AB. And then I'm gonna say, because this is plus, here it is minus, the opposite sign. And then it's time for sine, sine 45, sine 30. What was cosine at 45? On the unit circle, cosine at 45 was root of 2 over 2, and sine at 45 was root of 2 over 2. Okay, so here cosine 45 is root of 2 over 2 times cosine at 30, this is the longest cosine, or the longest x, root of 3 over 2. So I have root of 3 over 2 minus sine at 45, we know it very well now, root of 2 over 2. And sine 30, since cosine 30 is root of 3 over 2, so sine 30 is the shortest one, or it's a half. خلاص? You're going to need to simplify this by this, gives you root of 6. By this root of, over 4. Minus root of 2 times 1 is root of 2 over 4. I can combine because I can subtract because the denominator, is the same. So root of 6 minus root of 2 over 4 is cosine 75. And you can check with your calculator. If your calculator give you the answer as a decimal, check this as a decimal as well. And make sure they're equal to each other. This is the basic idea of how to solve such questions. Okay, the next question is over here. I have it ready. Sine negative 210. So give yourself seconds to think, how can I get negative 210 by addition or subtraction of two numbers that are on the unit circle? It's all in your hands. You have many choices. You can do whatever you want. You can think, for example, of a negative 150 of minus 60. Their sum is negative 210. You can think of a negative 240 plus 30, right? A negative 240 plus 30. You can think of a negative 270 plus 60. All of these are going to give you, they are all on the unit circle, They have to be on the unit circle, أكيد. I'm not going to go find angles that I don't know their values. I'm going to go with this one. Again, it's your choice. If you have a million of options, whatever you see, and المهم their total or their sum is negative 210. So, if I choose to change this to sine negative 270 plus 60, for example. Okay? So, the rule for the sine, we said it is sine, cosine, sine, and the same sign. Here the sign is plus, okay? And if it was minus, I was going to change it to plus. The minus will not belong to the 60. The 60 will remain as 60. So, here we said we use sine negative 270. It's sine, cosine 60. And here is the same sign. And then cosine A, which is negative 270, times sine B, which is 60. Okay, what is sine at negative 270? At negative 270 is actually over here. This is negative 270. If you go clockwise until here, what is the sine value? It's 1. So I have 1 times cosine 60 is half, minus cosine at negative 270, here cosine is 0. Negative 270 is exactly as 90. They are coterminals. So cosine here is 0 multiplied by whatever is going to be 0 anyway. Sine 60 is root of 3 over 2. So your answer is half. Sine negative 210 degrees without a calculator is equal to half. And you can check with your calculator. You might face some difficulties with these. I know the video yesterday has changed them to degrees and just made all the steps with degrees. You can do that, but I would love that you start training yourself to use, again, radians. If you cannot think about this number, you don't know it. Actually, this number, how will you know it? أصلا حتى it's not on the unit circle. How will you multiply it to degrees? If you remember, I'm going to multiply by 180 over pi. And this will cancel this, and your answer will come to be 330 degrees. So let's think of two numbers on the unit circle. Their sum or their difference is 330 degrees. Obviously, I think 360 and minus a 30 would give me a perfect answer for me. So if you want a 360 in radians, it's 2 pi, and 30 is pi over 6. If you want to continue in degrees, I will not mind, but I will continue in radians. Okay, so I'm gonna change the question to sine 2 pi minus pi over 6. That means 360 minus 30. Because we said the angle is 330 and we discovered by changing it to degrees. So now sine 2 pi minus pi over 6. Okay, so this minus I'm not going to use for pi over 6. This one I'm going to change it when I come here. In the middle is going to be a plus. No, I'm sorry, for sine it's the same sign, so in the middle it's going to be a minus. And as we said, sine goes sine cosine and then cosine sine, right? So we say sine cosine cosine sine. Okay, so over here I can start by saying it's sine 2 pi cosine pi over 6, and the minus is here. I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna go for cosine, the first one, which is 2 pi, and then sine pi over 6. The answer will give me sine 11 pi over 6. So what is sine at 2 pi? يعني sine عند الزيرو. Sine عند الزيرو is 0. Remember on the unit circle, cosine sine, cosine sine. So 0 times cosine at 30 or pi over 6. Cosine is root of 3 over 2. Although I don't care if I'm in a test and I want to be fast. This خلاص is 0. Minus cosine 2 pi. Cosine at 2 pi is 1. Multiplied by sine 30 is going to be half. So my answer is going to be, so your answer for number 3 is going to be, okay, let's try it on the calculator. If you want to do it on the calculator, you have to be on radians for this question. If you're using 11 pi over 2, 11 pi over 12, I'm sorry, pi over 12. So 11 sine 11 pi over 12 for number 3. Wait, 11 pi over 12. Why am I getting a different answer? I hate this in my videos while I'm doing a video to get such things. We said sine is sine cosine, cosine sine, and sine at 2 pi is 0 times cosine. Just let me check something. Again, 11 divided by 12 times 180 is 165. Who said it's 330? Subhanallah, it's 165. I'm sorry. So this is 165. Okay, wait just a second. 330 times shift pi over 180. So let's change the question to 11 pi over 6 so I don't, خلاص, I will keep it as 330. And what is sine? The answer, it's negative half, so I don't repeat all of these. Okay, I will just change the question. Maybe I did it as L over 6. So the answer is negative half in this case. Okay, so regarding cosine 17 pi over 12, I need to know it in degrees. In degrees, it's 255 degrees, hopefully. So which two numbers, when I add them or subtract them, I get 255? A good option here is 210 and 45. And I have 210 on my unit circle, and I have 45, of course, on my unit circle. So I will know how to deal with them. Okay? So let's continue in degrees. I don't mind as long as you get the answer at the end. So it's gonna be cosine. In cosine, we said we do cosine cosine, sine sine, and the opposite sign. So I can change the question to cosine 210 plus 45, and then say cosine 210 cosine 45, and then the opposite sign, and then sine 210 sine 45. What is cosine at 210? Cosine is negative root of 3 over 2. So negative root of 3 over 2 times root of 2 over 2, a very popular one, minus, again, sine 210, here we go. What is sine at 210? Is negative half. So minus negative half times root of 2 over 2. صح؟ صح. So here I have negative root of 6 over 4 plus root of 2 over 4. Your answer is root of 2 minus root of 6 all over 4. This is regarding question number 4. In this lesson, we have many different types of questions. Now I'm going to try to display them on 2 videos This is not the only type of question. This is the very direct, simple questions. Although the whole lesson is not hard anyways. Question number 5 is asking me for tan 23 pi over 12. I know it's sometimes annoying when it's in radians, but still, you can change it. 23 pi over 12 in degrees is 345 degrees. So, which two numbers on the unit circle can help me get a 345? I think 300 plus 45 is very good for me. So here I have tan 300 plus 45. And what was the rule for tan with a plus? It's tan A plus tan B over 1 minus tan A times tan B. So let me keep it here. So I'm going to put a tan 300 plus tan 45 all over 1 minus tan 300 times tan 45. How will you get these values? You can get them with the calculator, or again, go to the unit circle and remember tan is y over x. So tan at 300 is y over x. Negative root of 3 over 2 over half is going to give you negative root of 3. And you can check with the calculator. This is going to give you negative root of 3. Tan at 45 is always 1 because root of 2 over 2 over root of 2 over 2. 1 over 1 minus tan at 300 again is negative root of 3 multiplied by tan 45, which is 1. صح? So now we reached negative root of 3 of 1 minus root of 3 over 1 plus root of 3. طبعا the calculator will not give you this answer because the calculator hates a root in the denominator and we hate it too. You'll multiply by its conjugate. Remember conjugates? 1 minus root of 3 over 1 minus root of 3. Okay. This will give me 1 minus 2 root of 3, or yani minus root of 3 minus root of 3 after foiling, plus 3 over 1, and difference of squares is first with first, last with last is very enough because the middle terms will go. So I have in my numerator now 4 minus 2 root of 3 all over negative 2. If you try to divide everybody by negative 2, or yani split it, 4 divided by negative 2 minus 2 root of 3 over negative 2, you are going to get a negative 2 plus root of 3 as an answer. And you can do on the calculator tan, if you are in degrees, shift mode 3, you can do tan 345. Why do I have two tans here? Tan 345 degrees, you will get the answer. This, if you stopped here, you might think you're wrong. Where مثلا over here 1 minus root of 3 plus 1 plus root of 3. You have to simplify this. So you're not wrong. Okay? So regarding question number 6, I have tan pi over 12. And pi over 12 is very popular. It's just 15 degrees. How will I get 15 degrees? I can do it by tan 45 minus 30, which is a perfect one. Here I will have tan 45 minus tan 30 all over 1 plus tan 45 tan 30 according to the difference identity rule for the tan. Tan 45, as we said, is 1 minus tan at 30 degrees. Again, tan at 30 degrees is half over root of 3 over 2. That will give me root of 3 over 3. So, and you can try with a calculator. 1 plus 1 times, it's easy that you have the same numbers down again. Okay, so now you have an answer as 1 minus root of 3. It's about simplifying now. 1 plus root of 3 over 3. Okay, how will you simplify that? You are going to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. 1 minus root of 3 over 3 over 1 minus root of 3 over 3. The numerator will become 1 minus root of 3 over 3 minus root of 3 over 3 plus 3 over 9 divided by first with first, last with last, 1 minus 3 over 9. Root of 3 times root of 3 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so if you simplify the numerator, you will get 4 over 3 minus 2 root of 3 over 3 all over 1 minus 1 over 3 is 2 over 3. Divide everybody by 3, or this cancels this because they're all divided by 3. You will get 4 minus 2 root of 3 over 2. Divide everybody by 2. You will get, I don't have space, 2 minus root of 3, and this is the answer for tan 15. Here tan 15 is always 2 minus root of 3, and this is kind of a popular one. Okay, I will stop and make another video for a different style of questions.